Golden State Warriors. I don't want to go too crazy on a singular loss, but they have lost and a couple of heartbreaking games in terms of fourth quarter execution. And even in some of their wins, it's been a pattern. Like fourth quarter execution has been bad. You know, Steph Curry's assist to turnover ratio right now, and it's early in the year, it's the worst in his career. It's the worst in his career. And it feels like multiple times we've seen Steph have the ball in his hands late in games, and he's come up short. Now, the team around him has simultaneously come up short, but he's a big part of that. They're 59 and 56 the last two seasons. 59 and 56. If I go back to the start of the second half, 2022, and there's a lot of injuries baked into it, we can talk about all those things. There were injuries last year. There's injuries this year. 22 and 18. They're basically slightly over 500 the last 2.5 years. Is that just what they are, Monte? Is that just what they are currently?
They did make the second round last year. All right. So I don't want that to kind of slip under the radar, and we can scoff at that. They did beat Sacramento in 7. Lakers were a 7 seed as well last year, and they made the Western Conference Finals. So I don't know if seeding, and we know this is why the in-season tournament is in play, is because teams didn't necessarily take the regular season seriously. They were just gearing up for the playoffs, gearing up to try to be healthy. So there's a lot of teams who won 44, 45, 46, 47 games. But the difference with this team is when you lose a Jordan Poole, who did score you 20 a night, and I know he wasn't as efficient and he turned the ball over, that secondary scorer now is looming large for the Golden State Warriors because Clay, he's playing well as of late. Clay is playing better, but he's not that secondary scorer that you need alongside Stephen Curry.
I would say playmaker is so important. Like, score is maybe the other word.
Score,
yes.
yeah. Well, I'm the same thing. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Playmaker guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Who could break their man off the dribble, get to the cup, create for others. When you see LeBron James, even at the age of 38, getting into the paint, creating for others, wide open threes, kickouts to Cam Reddish, kickouts to Austin Reeves. Same thing with some of these other teams. SGA is doing it very well at Oklahoma City. We're going to see him on Friday again. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, where he breaks down the defense and he kicks out the wide open shooters, and Chet is hitting them, and Jalen Williams is hitting threes, and Josh Giddey's there. And then, that's the difference right now. They have one guy, maybe two, and that's Brandon Podziemski, who's a rookie. And you don't want to put a lot on Brandon Podziemski's plate. You see him play heavy minutes Saturday against the Clippers, and they figured him out defensively, and James Harden had his way in the third quarter against Brandon Podziemski. I applaud the effort, though. Pods was playing well.
Was nice.
It still was nice to see.
He got a couple of weak, Harden does those,
right.
The up and unders and stuff. He had that weak
and he gets
block
those
cards.
calls. He gets those calls. That's James Harden. So he's going to get those calls. But when you look at what their record is, the 500 team, maybe they are that. Right now, they are that. They're 9-11. For this year, they're 9-11. I get what happened last year. Last year was just a mess. And when you think about that record, there's context to it, right? Wiggins missed 2 months. Are they 500 if Wiggins doesn't miss 2 months last year? Draymond Green missing time. Stephen Curry missed a lot of time. What did Steph Curry miss? About a month of the season?
Steph's missed about 20 games in multiple seasons in a row here.
But he had the shoulder injury in Indiana, and he missed some time at a very crucial point of the season last year. So they did make the second round, but this year, I'm just looking at the team this year with Chris Paul, and he's been out, and he's probable to play today, and Andrew Wiggins is probable to play today, which means they're probably going to play against Portland tonight. Don't forget 10,000 fans, first 10,000 fans, you get your Draymond Green bobblehead. Maybe that's just who they are. And I think Mike Dunleavy, as the way things are looking, if you want to play the young guys, you got to open up a spot somewhere.
That's where I'm coming around. Keep going.
Who's been a more consistent player right now, Klay Thompson or Andrew Wiggins?
I think Klay. I don't know what's going on with Wiggins. Klay has been.
And
not by some wide margin, but Klay has been.
Look, Wiggins is playing 27 minutes a night. He's giving you 13 points and 4 rebounds. And I tell people, don't worry about Wiggins. Give him 14 games. In the 14th game, he goes double-double. But I am a little concerned about Andrew Wiggins because I'm looking at his shooting percentages and his shooting splits, and he's shooting 26.7% from the three-point line. He's shooting 59% from the free throw line. He's shooting 43% from the field. And my mindset goes to this. Here's how my mind works. Okay, if I'm getting that from Andrew Wiggins, I'm paying him all this money, and he's a veteran. Well, can I get that from Jonathan Kuminga? Can I get that from Moses Moody for a fraction of the price? And I can see what these young guys can become by getting consistent minutes. We've seen these young guys over the last 3 games now without Andrew Wiggins. And They played the last 2 games, I should say. And the pace has been picked up. And that's not a byproduct of Andrew Wiggins. I think that's a byproduct of Chris Paul because Chris Paul plays so slow. And he's trying to learn the .5 basketball, the motion offense. And maybe Chris Paul can't do it at this point. Maybe he could never do it. I don't know. But the pace is slower when Chris Paul's in the game. And you heard Steve Kerr Saturday saying, I like the way we played today. They were getting up and down, Chasky, up and down, up and down. So right now, they are a 500 team, to answer your question. Right now, they're a 500 team. 9-11. Hell, they're 2 games under 500. They haven't even got to 500. So it's shaping up to look like there may need to be a move made.
Okay.
And I don't know what that move is, but if you want to play the youngsters, you got to open it up somewhere.
So then let's start here, okay? Forget the trades and all that stuff. Like, should Moody be in the starting lineup right now?
I don't know. Who would he start for?
I'm just like last game they started Saric at the center spot and didn't start Looney. I don't know if that's a sustainable.
It's going to go back and forth with that because Saric, is a liability.
I mean, Dre hitting a couple of wide open threes early on, was that a byproduct of that? Yeah. I'm asking these questions out loud that I don't know the answer to.
Well, I'll try to answer them for you.
So
maybe Moody should be because he could hit the 3, right?
Then he's
playing well. So in my opinion,
let me write. I want to stay with you here. Keep going.
In my opinion, I like Moody in the starting lineup alongside Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. It seems like the spacing's better.
Clay.
But again, but this is all a moot point because Wiggins is going to be in the starting lineup. So
why?
That's the way Steve Kerr rolls with his veterans. He's going to roll with Andrew Wiggins to get him going.
But it's not working.
That's Steve Kerr. Talk to him. He's going to roll with Andrew Wiggins.
Well, then let's forget what Kerr is going. What would you? So you would go Steph,
I would
Klay,
go
Moody.
Steph. I would go Steph, Klay, Moody.
And then what? And then Dre,
and then depending on the matchup.
I like that. So it would be Saric or.
But you know
Moody?
what? But you know what though?
What's
every starting lineup? The only one to me who deserves starting lineup, a starting spot.
Consistent.
And again, it's not a big deal to Stephen Curry.
Okay.
And then everything else, I would go lineup by lineup. I would go game by game, depending on the matchup.
I don't disagree with you, but to me, that like from a coaching standpoint, everyone's like mad at Kerr and stuff, it makes it really hard on Kerr. You've got to pull a lot of levers. That's all I'm saying. Like that's
think about
difficult.
This though. Well, think about this. Yes, it is difficult, but Saturday afternoon was the 5th consecutive game in which the Warriors had a different starting lineup. They've already used 5 straight games. They've had a different starting lineup.
Well, they've been so many injuries,
right? And the Warriors have used 9
and suspensions.
They had 9 different starting lineups this season.
In how many games?
20 games.
So
9 different starting lineups in 20 games.
50% of their games, essentially. Wow.
Think about the playoffs. They had 6 different starting lineups in 13 playoff games. This is what they do. So I don't know if it's Wiggins or Moody, but what is becoming apparent, and I'm thinking about Horace in Texas now.
A big man.
They do need a big man.
Look, I love Kevon Looney. We all love Kevon Looney. It just, to me, he's a contributor. He plays a role. I think that we've overextended what his role is. To me, ideally, he's a situational spot starter, but I like him as a backup.
I do like him.
He's a back, and I don't think that's. I'm not slandering Loon.
No.
I love Loon. We all love Loon. Yeah. There's clearly it gets a little congested. It gets a little slogged down. I almost feel bad saying that out loud.
No, it's not. It's okay. It's not as slanderous to say somebody's coming off the bench. We get so caught up in this starting bench stuff. It drives me insane. It really does.
I'm trying to win games.
Yeah, he comes off the bench. He plays 15, 20 minutes. Fine. It's going to play that as a starter anyway. So what's the difference? 15, 20 minutes off the bench? So you can see how the game plays out, comes in and plays some good backup minutes. It's fine. It's not slanderous. He's used to it.
Well, it's just it's hard for me to like you watch this team every night, right? And you see them play. It's really hard for me to not see how much energy a handful of young guys provide to this team.
Yeah.
And there's a jolt. There's a sense of urgency. The ball hops around. Are they going to make mistakes? Absolutely, they're going to make mistakes. But to your point about freeing things up, I think they have to do something coming up here. They're a tweak away. Like, to me, it's not some major move like, oh, they're doomed. They're not doomed. They're right there. They're in the mix, right? Do I think they're a contender this moment right now? No, I don't.
Not.
But I think that they're a couple tweaks away from being right where they need to be. Look, the other night, they were really, really good for like 2.5 quarters. That third quarter was really bad. But, like, you were missing CP3, Wiggins, and GP2. Those are 3 of your top 8 guys.
But see, here's the problem, too.
What's that?
The rotation needs to be shortened. And so there's going to be some tough decisions here. You play 11, 12 guys a night.
It's tough.
How can you get into a rhythm?
Yeah.
How can you build cohesion?
That's a good point.
When you shorten the rotation, which was shortened the last 2 nights, all of a sudden they're playing better.
Yeah.
Because guys know
longer,
I'm getting 20 minutes.
Longer runway.
I'm going to have longer runway to make mistakes and play through mistakes. I'm going to have an opportunity to be aggressive. I'm going to get shots. I'm going to be able to be more aggressive. Even Klay Thompson, knowing that these rotations are shortened, not to go back to Klay, but even he's like, you know what? I can sacrifice a couple shots here and there because I know I'm going to have runway. Draymond Green, I can let him fly a little bit because I know our guys are not here. And you see Draymond Green go back to back. Draymond Green shot 50% from the three-point line in the month of November.
He's got like 18 consecutive free throws, man.
Well, he missed one finally. He missed one against the Clippers, which broke that streak. Yeah, he went 3 or 4 last Thursday against the Clippers. But he had the free throws.
Yeah, he had the thing. Like, he is shooting really well. And even the shot at the end of the game, look, would I like Klay to take that shot from the corner? Of course. But, like, it's a good look.
No, it is a good look. It is a good look. So, Moody, does he deserve to start? Steve Kerr's got to make that decision. But it does feel like with Moody, he's a more consistent three-point shooter than Andrew Wiggins right now. Moody shooting 37.5% from the three-point line. That opens it up a little bit more, and he's shooting it with confidence.
Yes.
With confidence. Andrew Wiggins right now is not shooting the three ball with confidence. So do you want more shooting on the floor? Because Andrew Wiggins, where he operates, is where Looney and Draymond operates at times. So I don't know what you do with the starting lineup.
I don't know. Did you catch Steve Kerr after the loss? Like, and I know sometimes you lose a game, you might say things that you don't mean, and we clip it, and we think it's the word of the gospel, if you will. But like Steve Kerr basically said that he really likes his team.
Play it right now.
It was more them than us. I was really pleased with the way we played. They got a talented team, and they picked up the pressure, kept us off the three-point line in the second half. And, I liked the response to that. To me, it felt like we deserved to win tonight. We took care of the ball. We kept them off the foul line. We showed poise when they made their runs. So this one hurts way more than the Sacramento game. Sacramento game, we deserved to lose with all the crazy turnovers and fouling. This was a clean game that we played. Our guys brought spirit, effort, energy. So I like this version of our team. This is the team I expect going forward, but no question that this hurts.
So, here's the question I have for you, B. I didn't mean to cut you there, but do you like this team?
That team that was on the court Saturday?
Yeah.
Wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
Pajemski.
Looney played his 18 minutes off the bench, 7 points, 8 rebounds. Sarge started, didn't have – Zubac really killed them in the post. His physicality. And here's the thing.
One Harden.
You still have an issue. If you don't have a big who could protect the rim, and the Warriors don't have that right now, and Paul George mentioned it after the game, said, we know that they have rim protection, so we started driving to the rack, and they started driving and kicking. And the Clippers were able to get 31 assists Saturday afternoon. Not having that rim protection, it hurts because do I like the team offensively? Sure. Defensively, no. I can't stand in front of anybody. Harden got to any spot he wanted to in the third quarter. Paul George started cooking. He got to any spot he wanted to in the second half.
Yeah, missing GP2 and Wiggins simultaneously in a game against that personnel.
It hurt.
It showcased itself.
It hurt. Kawhi Leonard, he almost flirted with a triple-double Saturday afternoon with 28 and 7.
I guess my big question was why didn't Kuminga come back in at the end there?
Yeah, 16 minutes there. He was ineffective Saturday. He did have the big dunk.
He's just been hit and miss.
He's hit and miss. Right now, the more consistent players, Brandon Pajemski and Moses Moody. Moses Moody scored 21 Saturday afternoon. He got to the free throw line 10 times. So maybe Moses Moody does deserve to start next to Steph, Klay, and Draymond Green, and you figure out the 5 spot. But is Wiggins willing to come off the bench? Is he willing to accept that role? And do you want to bench a $100 million player? That's what we're talking about here, folks.
I don't really care
from a
about
business standpoint. You always talk about it. I'm saying you're benching a $100 million player.
Yeah, well, that's why if he's not willing to accept it, then we need to make some moves. Do I like this team? Is the question. Like Kerr likes the team. Do I like
the team? I don't know if I like the team or not.
They're
be 9-11.
I'll just put my stake in the ground. I don't love the team. I think that there's too many redundant parts. We have one-way guys that are either shooters with zero defense or all defense and not enough offense, or just lost. Right? Like Wiggins feels lost right now. Kuminga feels a little lost right now. I think we have a lot of wing players, not enough size. We're one or two pieces off here. And I don't think it's this debacle. They're not like the worst team in the league.
No.
The season's not cooked. Everything's not over. No, none of those things. But they're a tweak away. I think they're a tweak away. And I think that they can make a move and be right back to where they need to be. And to me, it starts by moving one of their perimeter players to open things up for some of the young guys or whatever, or get clarity in that backcourt, and then get a big man. You need something.
Brandon Pajewski getting 37 minutes Saturday afternoon tells you everything about this team right now. They lack playmakers, guys who can break down the defense.
He's earned it.
But they also lack guys who can stay in front of their guys on defense.
True.